My screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the topic we'll be dealing is, in short, it's computer only. So we all know what a computer is, right? We have all seen, or in our daily life, all throughout our life, what a computer actually is, right? Computer can come in various form, right? In the simplest form, we have what is known as the personal computer. Over and above that, we have our laptops, we have our tablets, we have our mobile phones. All these things are in one way or the other a form of computer. Okay, so when we say computer, so it simply means it's a device. Okay, it's an electronic device. So what does this electronic device do? We'll put it information, we will supply information, or we will give a set of instructions. Okay, we'll give a set of instruction to the computer or to that electronic device, and then based on that set of instructions, the computer will generate something. Okay, it will generate something. So when we define a computer, we generally define it as an electronic device that manipulates information, right? According to the set of instruction. Okay, so according to how whatever instructions that we have given, it will manipulate the data or the information. Okay, it won't just do it on its own. Okay, this is not an artificial intelligence or some kind of generative AI, right? We're talking about a simple computer. So it will manipulate the data and information according to the type of or the set of instruction that we have provided to the computer. Okay, and in simplest form, it does a lot of function. It can store, right? All computer has a storage system. It has the capacity to retrieve, right, the data that has been lost. And most importantly, the most important function of a computer is to process this data, to process the data. Okay, so processing the data is one of the most important function of a computer. Apart from this, we also use internet. We also use the computer to access internet, right? As well as for communication, different types of communication system. We use the computer system. Okay. So this is what in simple the computer is. Okay. Now let's come to functions of a computer. Yeah, if you have any problem, kindly speak out, okay? Because the Zoom screen is minimized, so I can't see what is happening there, right? Instead of just putting it in a chat box, kindly speak it out, okay? If there's any problem. So let's come to the functions of a computer, okay? So we all know a computer performs a variety of functions, right? So, but every computer setup has 4 basic functions, okay? So all these functions will be you can see in any type of computer, okay? And the first and the foremost function is what is known as the input, right? Second is what is known as the processing. Third is what is known as the output. And fourth is the storage, okay? So all these 4 types of functions, these are basic functions, okay? Not the specific function, these are just basic functions that you can see in a computer system, okay? Now, when we say input, it simply means that information or the data that is given to the computer, right? So in order to access the computer, we always, give some data, right? Or we give some information to the computer or a set of instructions that we give to the computer. All these things are what is known as input, okay? And what happens is that from input, it goes to what is known as the central processing unit, okay? We'll come to the components of a computer system later. For now, just understand that whatever data that we have input or whatever information that we have inputted, it goes to the central processing unit, okay? Next comes the processing, okay? So processing takes place in the central processing unit. So processing is where the action takes place, okay? In simple terms. And It is this action that converts the data, okay? It will convert the data that we have entered into some other output, right? Output or result. This is the function of processing. Now, the processing can be anything, okay? It can be a mathematical calculation, okay? It can be a mathematical calculation. It can be a comparison function. Or it can be some other type of decisions that have to be taken by the computer, okay? But all these decisions or the comparison or mathematical calculation will be based upon the input, okay? So processing will be based upon the input. And whatever output is generated, it will be dependent upon the processing system, right? Now, whatever action has been taken, be it a mathematical calculation, be it a comparison or a decision that has been taken by the processing unit, it is now given to the output, okay? And it makes the result available to the user, okay? So whatever data or whatever information has been manipulated by the processing unit, it is sent to the output. And through this output, the user has access to the information, okay? The user has access to the information. And lastly, we have what is known as the storage. Now, storage is very important, right? Now, computer, in order to perform any processing, right, the data has to be stored, okay? Sometimes the data is stored temporarily, sometimes data is stored permanently, right? So storage is very important. Any type of file that you save in a computer system that goes into the storage, okay? So the function of storage is nothing but to store data, right? And they can be stored, like I mentioned, temporarily or as well as permanently, right? And even the storage has a different types, okay? There are different types of storages that you can find in a computer system, which we'll be later be discussing, okay? Now, if we look at the grammatical representation of this, it will look something like this, okay? Now, this is the input, okay? Now, input will feed to the processing. Okay, so processing is where all the manipulation of the data takes place, right? Now, here, finally, the output will come out. Okay, so input has to be done by user, right? And the output is displayed to the user, right? Displayed or provided to the user. And the storage will come within the processing system only. Okay, because data has to be stored in order to process, right? If the data is not stored, it will just disappear, right? Without being processed. That is why storage and processing go hand in hand, okay? So this is what a simple schematic diagram of. Now, there are many features that make up a computer system. Let's see some of these. The first and foremost is what is known as the speed, right? Now, as we all know that a computer can process data at a very high speed, right? At a very high speed. If you put up a mathematical equation, right, and do it manually, it will take a lot of time, right? It will be time consuming. But if you do it through a computer, it will take very less time, right? And why? Because computer can process the data very fast, okay? So usually the speed is measured in terms of instructions per second, okay? So speed of a computer is generally measured in terms of instructions per second. Second is accuracy. Now, computer, as we all know, it's a very reliable device, right? Why? Because we can get accurate results. Now, human beings tend to have errors, right? If human performs certain function, it tends to have what is known as the human error. But when it comes to computer system, accuracy is high, okay? Because the error is low. That is why computers another feature that characterizes a computer is accuracy. Thirdly, we have the storage capacity. Thirdly, we have the storage capacity. Now, the storage capacity of a computer system varies, right? We all know that every computer has different storage capacity. Depending upon how much money you pay, accordingly, the storage capacity also varies, right? But nonetheless, a computer system can store a large amount of data, okay? Stores a large amount of data. And over and above that, you can connect a number of storage devices. Now, computer system in itself has the storage capacity, but over and above that, if you need, you can connect with an external storage unit, right? We call it a hard disk and all, right? So we can connect it with the help of hard disk and then increase the storage capacity of the computer system, right? So those are secondary storage. Again, we'll talk about this later. And another feature is versatility. Now, see, we don't use a computer to perform a single task, right? We don't use a computer simply to do a MS Word document, right? To edit an MS Word document. We use a computer system for performing different type of work, right? Moreover, we can also open a number of program and work continuously, right? You can open MS Word, you can MS Excel, you can also open Paint, as well as you can open some other like AutoCAD and SketchUp. All these things, all these different types of softwares you can open and perform simultaneously. Okay? So another features that is being system is what is known as the versatility. Okay. Now let's come to the fifth point, which is automation. So we all know once you give the input, right? Once you provide the input to the computer system, it will function automatically, right? Whatever task it has to do, it will perform as per the instructions that is being given to the computer. So another feature is automation, right? So if there's work that requires something like automated work, you can take those things with the help of a computer system, right? Another characteristic is diligence. Okay, we are just comparing this computer system with human beings only. Okay, you just remember that. So another feature is diligence. Now, human beings, we tend to get tired, right? If you study for a long time, we get tired. If you keep on doing something for a long time, we get tired. But computer is not does not suffer from those type of problem, right? Because computer is is not a human being, right? So another is secrecy. Now we all know you can add different types of passwords, login credentials to your computer system, right? In order to protect your computer. So these are, as well as there's different types of, softwares to protect your computer system from viruses, malwares, trojans. These are the different ways in which you can protect the computer system. So another feature that the computer system provides is what is known as the secrecy, okay? And we all know computer system is reliable, right? Because everything takes place through logical or mathematical way. So in this way, computer systems are regarded as reliable, right? So these are different types of, general features of the computer system, okay? We are just comparing with human beings. Now, let's come to a topic called history of computers. Now, we all see different types of computers, right? With us, we see like computers performing different types of tasks, computer performing at a very high speed, but computers did not always exist like this, okay, in the past. it was as gradual and slow development of the of different types of devices over a period of time. And because of this, the speed improved, the accuracy improved, the computer became more and more reliable. And that's how the present day computer system came into being, okay? So when we talk about the history of computer, we generally look at it at how computer was developed over a period of time, okay? So if you go back in history, the first, generally how we talk in our common parlance is that the first computer generally regarded as the abacus, okay? So it was a very simple device, okay? It was developed in China. A number of rods, okay? You will find a number of rods, and in that rods you will find a number of beats, okay? So this is how a simple abacus system looks like, and with the help of this, you can perform a number of. So although computer is defined as an electronic device, okay, this was primarily a mechanical device only. Because you have to use your hand to do the calculation, okay? But it helped us to solve the mathematical problems very quickly, okay? So it was not an electronic device, okay? In the beginning of the computer was not
Sir,
an
your
electronic
voice
device.
is
It was a
cracking in
very simple
between.
mechanical device. We can do subtraction, we can do multiplication. This type of is it from the beginning or is it just now?
Now, sir.
Sure, because so abacus calculator, like I've mentioned, although computer is defined as an electronic device, when we say abacus, we generally mean a mechanical device. Okay, this was not an electronic device because during that period, this electronic system was not developed. Okay, the electronic components were not developed, and with the help of this, we perform simple functions. Okay, simple functions like addition, subtraction. You can also perform things like square root, okay, and multiplications. So basically it was used for mathematical calculation. Okay. So this was generally considered to be the beginning of the development of computer system. Okay. So if you look at the development of the computer system, we see that the number of different types of devices were developed by between this and our present day computer system. A number of devices were developed by different people. Okay. So we'll see like just a few of them. Okay. Just the important ones. Let's apart from this, there was something called the Napier phones. Okay, Napier phones. So it was developed by John Napier. He was a mathematician. So this was mainly used for multiplication. Okay. And the most important thing was it used a technology known as the raptologia. Okay. So you just remember this term. Okay. You don't need to learn beyond. This is just going to be your MCQ questions only, right? Your NSSB. So just remember that when we talk about raptologia, it deals with what is known as the Napier's bone. Okay. Then after that, we have other things like Pascaline. Then we have analytical engine. So analytical engine is important. So let's discuss it a bit. It was developed in 1837, okay, by a person known as Charles Babbage, right? So that is why He is regarded as the father of computer, okay? So for MCQs, these things are important. Father of computer. Charles Babbage is regarded as the father of computer. Why? Because he developed the analytical engine. And this analytical engine is also regarded as the first general purpose computer. So this was also used for performing different types of mathematical operations, okay? So after that, we have a number of different types of devices. After this, we have the tabulating machines. We have things like Mark I, okay? And let's come to a device that was developed in 1946, okay? It was known as the ENIAC, okay? So ENIAC was the short form for electronic. Now we come to the electronic stage, okay? From here to we a certain level of like above this, mostly were mechanical devices, okay? So from here, we see some sort of electronic device that comes into existence, right? Electronic numerical electronic numerical integrator. So this is very important. Why? Because this was considered to be the first electronic digital computer, okay? Because it was the first electronic digital computer. Because even though it was electronic devices, these were not digital, okay? So from here onwards, we see the rise of the electronic digital device, okay? So in a way, we can say that in a electronic numerical integrator and computer, okay? The full form. Electronic numerical integrator, that computer has evolved a lot. If we see from here, analytical engine was developed by Charles Babbage on a device, but it was not as complicated or as sophisticated as the ENIAC. My connectivity is not very good, right? Can someone please confirm?
I think it's fine now.
So when it comes to exam and all, like things like Napier bonds, terms like raptologia, then analytical engine, then ENIAC. These things are very important, okay? Of the term ENIAC, these are important. So kindly remember these things for exam, okay? So after ENIAC, you also see a number of other devices because now already EDSEC, UNIVAC, and then our modern day, what is known as the IPM computer, okay? So by IPM computers, we have the PC, okay? It's the beginning of the origin of the BC system, right? So UNIVAC is full form is universal automatic computer. So this is what is the history of computer system. So as we have seen, this is just a simple historical development of the computer from the beginning of the abacus all the way to the development to a modern day PC. Okay. Now, when we talk about computer, we also discuss another thing known as the generations of computer. Okay. Now, when we talk about generations of computer, we generally see the technology behind, okay? Technology behind the computer system. Now, don't get confused with his history of computer and the generations of computer, okay? So, how computer processing, right? Now, in order to do that processing, it has to use certain technology or certain, it has to operate in certain
Sir, your network is
way,
not good.
right? And that
Hello, sir.
operation is carried is depending upon the different generations of computer. Okay, now when we talk about the generations of computer, we generally talk
Sorry, your voice is
about the
creaking.
5 generations of computer. Okay, so let me just write down the 5. Again, is screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Sir,
Yes,
your
sir.
screen is visible, but your voice is cracking.
Sure. Hello,
Yes, sir.
am I audible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So sorry, I'm having a very bad. My network is not very stable tonight. I'll try to get adjusted. Okay, but kindly cope up with me for today.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now let's talk about the generations of computer. Okay, so this also in a way it's important. Okay, generally when we talk about the generations of generations. Okay, so what is the technology or how do we operate a computer system? Based on that, we divide the generations. Okay. So, when we said first generations of computer, it means that the computer is using vacuum tubes. Okay. So the computer system is operating or processing with the help of vacuum tubes. Okay. And these are generally very big computer system. Okay. Now, when we say computer, it doesn't mean like a simple PC. Okay. Back then, it means like the devices has to be stored in, in the rooms in order to process that data. So these are very large computer system. In a way, we can say this non-portable. Okay. So this was the first generation of computer. So just remember when we talk about first generation of computer, you just remember directly that they are using vacuum tubes. Okay. And some common types of this includes things like some common first generation computer include ENIAC, UNIVAC, which we have discussed earlier, right? And Mark 1. These are the different types of first generation computer that we generally talk about. Okay, and these were mainly used for scientific purpose only. So you just remember that earlier, computers were mainly used for scientific purpose or for military purpose during wars. Okay, it was not like a modern day PC system that we use. Okay, in the 40s, 50s, 60s. So in the second generation of computer, it was using what is known as the transistors. Now, when we say transistor, you just remember it is made of semiconductors, okay? And compared to the first generation of computer, these tend to be more portable, okay? So when we say portable, it simply means you can move from one place to another, okay? Which means it has reduced in size, right? If it is very big in size, means we can't port it, right? We can't move it from one place to another. So when we say portability, it means that computer has reduced in size, right? And we have things like the IPMs, okay, from here onwards. Now, the third generation of computer, we have what is known as the integrated circuits, right? So in the fourth generation, we have the integrated circuits. These are made of silicon only. In the fourth generation, we have what is known as the microprocessor, okay? So some of the examples of these things are third generations and fourth generation. We have the Intel chips that we use, right? Now, in modern day, we have different types of computer system, right? Our laptops, which are operating on i3, i5. All these things comes under the fourth generation computer system, okay? And fifth generation is also similar to fourth generation only. Here also we use the integrated chips only, okay? So there's not much difference between the fourth and the fifth generation, just that these are more powerful, okay? Like for example, we may use it for artificial intelligence, robotics, okay? So these are the 5 generations of computer. The most important part is you remember what is the generation based upon, okay? This section. Apart from this, we all know that father of computer we regarded as Charles Babbage, right? PA. Charles Babbage is regarded as the father of computer. And father of modern computer is regarded as the Alan Turing, okay? So he played a very important role during the Second World War, right? So, and he was able to develop this computer system that was able to decipher the mnemonic codes that was being used by the, Axis power. So, because of the development that he has made in the development of the computer system, he is often regarded as the father of the modern computer, okay? So don't get confused, okay? In exam time, father of computer and father of modern computer, na? So that is the 5 generations of computer. Now let's see about the classification of computer, okay? Now we have different types of computer, okay? Like computers that serves different purposes and serve different purposes. Computers that have, some are very large computers, some are small computers, right? And some computers are used for very specific works, whereas some computers are used for a more general purpose, right? Based on that, computers are classified in different ways, okay? So if it is based on size, computers are generally classified as microcomputer, mainframe, mini computer, and fourth one is supercomputer. And based on work, there are the analog computer, we have the digital computer, and we have the hybrid computer, okay? And based on purpose, we have the general purpose and we have the special purpose, okay? So when we say computer, we have to consider the term computer in a very wide sense, okay? You can't simply include your personal computer, okay? Only and your laptops only. We have to include all the computers that are used by like big companies, or all the computers that are used in modern technology. All these things you have to take into account, okay? And based on all the computers that are available, we classify it in different ways, okay? So based upon the size, that's according to how big or how small it is, computers are classified into microcomputers, mainframe, mini computer, and supercomputer, okay? So when we say microcomputer, it simply means that these are not very big in size, okay? So some features include they are least powerful, okay? They are least powerful but most widely used. And they are also sometimes regarded as the portable computer. Now, one of the most common example of microcomputer is what is known as our personal computer, right? Your desktop. So yes, our computer that we use for desktop are in a way powerful only, okay? Because it serves our functions, right? Your personal needs or your office needs, it serves. But the problem is when compared with the very big and very powerful computers that exist in this world, these are nothing, okay? Compared to the powerful computers that exist in this world, your personal computer is nothing. That is why it is regarded as the least powerful, okay? The processor, although speed is good, but the speed is nothing compared to the powerful computers that exist with the governments and with the scientific institutions, okay? But nonetheless, because it is easily accessible and in terms of cost also it is efficient, they are most widely used, right? Because it can be used to serve the needs of your personal things, right? And these are portable computer. Why? Because you can easily move your computer from one place to another, right? So within the microcomputers, we have desktop, right? Also known as the PC. In today's world, PC is also not very often used. Most of the time, we all use only our laptops, right? So one good thing is this is economical, okay, compared to other computers. Now, second type is the laptop. So we all know what the laptop is, right? So it is sometimes this is also regarded as the ultrabook notebook. So one of the most biggest advantage that the laptop provides over a desktop is that you can easily move around, right? You can just carry it with you. It's lightweight and you can go it anywhere. You can charge the battery anywhere, and you don't need lots of socket to charge also, right? And there's a power backup. So it serves our personal needs very compactly, okay? Our laptops. There's something called the palm top, okay? Or the handheld. Now, one of the most common palm top device that we use, or palm top computer that we use, is our tablet, okay? Now, we all know we are using our tablets to study, to have access to information, to read different materials, to have access to information that are over the internet, right? So this is also a form of computer, okay? Don't forget that even your tablet is a form of computer, because it has the input, it has the output, as well as it has the processing and the storage capacity, right? So it is a type of computer, okay? And it is known as a palm top because you can simply hold it in your palm, right? And so this also has served its own function. Then we have the workstation. Now, workstation computers are just like regular PC, okay? It looks like PC only, normal computer only, just that they have very high processing speed, okay? High processor. So it tends to look like desktop only, okay? When we say workstation, right? You can say workstation or you can say workstation computer. So the only difference is that the processor is very high, okay? It has a very high processing speed and high resolution also. And because of this, these are used professionally only. So these are professional use only, okay? So when we say desktop, we generally understand when we say desktop, which generally is the computer is generally understood from the perspective of personal needs, okay? Desktop. But when we say workstation, these are very powerful computer system, okay? That tends to look like our normal computer setup only, just that they are very powerful and then they're used for professional use, okay? So these are the different types of microcomputer, okay? And as I mentioned, these are small in size, right? Now let's come to next type of computer, which is the mini computer. So when we say mini computer, it simply means these are also smaller in size, okay? Now, when we say smaller in size, it doesn't mean that this is small, okay? When we say it's smaller in size, we are comparing it with mainframe, okay? So these are, compared to the microcomputers, these are larger in size, okay? Mini computers are larger in size compared to microcomputers, but they are smaller in size compared to mainframe, okay? So when we say smaller in size, we are just talking about it in a very comparative sense, okay? We don't think that my mini computer quality, these are small computer, okay? It is actually large computer only, like bigger than our PCs and all, nah? And one way where we generally tend to use is server, okay? So this when we watch movies, when we watch different types of series, in there, if there's some kind of like technological things, you see lots of in the room where there are lots of devices kept, right, which keeps on blinking, all those things. These are actually mini computers and mainframe computers, okay? So these are functioning as a single unit, okay? Like you have seen like in movies, in a big room, devices are kept, right? Which keeps on blinking and sci-fi movie, and then they're doing certain operation function. All those things are computer only, a single set of computers, and all those computers are generally mainframes and mini computer. Okay, so when we say mini computers, yes, it is compared to mainframe. These are smaller in size, but they are larger in size when compared to our microcomputers. Okay, and one of the ways where we use a mini computer is to serve as a server, right? So what is the purpose of server, right? So when connected to the internet or when connected to a network, the computer may ask. So there might be lots of different types of computers, right? But these will be the PCs, and all of these will be connected in the network, right? And whenever any of the PC requests for any data or anything to the network to the server will deliver that page to the PC, right? So this is the function of a server, right? That is why sometimes when your NPC server is down, NPC website is down, we say the server is down, right? Why? Because there's lots of traffic, right? The capacity of the server is lower to the traffic that is being witnessed at the current scenario. That is why we say the server is down sometimes, right? When the web page is down, okay? So server is not like a different computer, okay? It's a computer only. So, and it's generally a mini computer. And the primary use of a server is when computers are connected over a network, right? When computers are connected over a network, the individual computer will request the server to deliver certain page, certain data, and accordingly the server will deliver that data or that page, right? So this is what is known as the mini computer, okay? And one way where we can use this server is, example is CAD, okay, computer-aided design. Now, many of so CAD is nothing but the software only. Like architects and civil engineers, when they design the houses, they use a powerful software known as the CAD, okay, computer-aided design. So then just remember the full form, okay? Because in exam, anything can be asked. Computer-aided architects while constructing a building, okay? So sometimes it so happen that if you use a CAD in a normal computer system, your computer may hang because the processor may not be able to support properly. But if you're using it in a mini computer, then you can use the CAD very smoothly, okay? Because the processing is much better on the mini computer, right? Now let's come to mainframe. Now, when we say like I've discussed earlier, when we watch movies and all in the room, like for example, it's a sci-fi movie or it is a uh, organization movie talks about organization and then their backup, their computer system. You will see that in certain room there will be lots of devices that are kept, right, which keeps on blinking and which hosts in a way that computer system hosts the network of the entire computer within the organization, right? So this is what is known as a mainframe, okay? So it performs as a single unit. And although it doesn't look like a typical computer, it is a computer, okay? Because it possesses all the features of a computer. That is the input, the output, the storage, and the processing. And because of this is also regarded as a computer, okay? Now, when we say mainframe computers, these are powerful computers, okay? This is not something you can use. This is not a computer that you use to write your MS Word, your Excel, okay? These are very powerful computer system. And it can, because it is powerful, it can tackle it can be used to deal with lots of softwares, okay? Like there might be certain softwares that require high processing speed, right? Or there might be certain, because the organization is very big, it has to deal with lots of data, lots of information, lots of these things, right? So all those things, what the organization would use is that they will use a mainframe computer, okay? And because of this, they also have large soft storage, okay? And these include things like the most important thing is the IPMs, okay? So this is what is regarded as a mainframe, okay? Now, in the exam time, I've seen that they have even asked a simple thing as the full form of IPM, okay? So full form of IPM is nothing but International Business Machine, okay? So please might be mindful of different types of abbreviation, okay? They tend to ask it in the exam. So because abbreviations are quite easy, right? Compared to, these are not very technical also. These are very like generic stuff. So kindly try to not to miss out these things also, okay? So the full form of IBM is International Business Machine, okay? So these are different types of computers only. Generally, these are more powerful computers than ordinary computer also. So this is what the mainframe is, okay? So like I mentioned, speed of a computer is measured in terms of instructions per second, right? Instructions per second. So when we say the computer is powerful, it means that their instructions per second would be higher, okay? Now let's come to a modern computer, okay? A modern computer known as the supercomputer. Now, a supercomputer is like a normal computer only, okay? In a sense that it operates in a normal computer system only, okay? Just that they are very fast, okay? They're very fast. They are faster than this super frame and also. They are also very expensive. They have very high processing speed, okay? And they also have high memory. So when we say supercomputer, it generally means that the computer is very fast or has a very high processing speed, okay? This is the most important here, very high processing speed. So in today's world, supercomputer plays a very important role, okay? Many of the institutions, many of the organizations are actually using the different types of supercomputers in order to solve their problems, right? Now, supercomputers, normal computers are generally measured in terms of what instructions per second, right? But when it comes to supercomputers, it is measured in terms of flops, okay? So it is floating points operations per second, okay? So this is how the speed of a supercomputer is measured, okay? Now, don't get confused, okay? Supercomputer and quantum computer. These are two different systems, okay? The way they operate is different. So I'll discuss about quantum computer in the later part. So for now, just remember that supercomputer is completely different from uh, quantum computer, okay? And when we say supercomputer, we don't use it for our daily normal function, okay? You are not going to use a supercomputer to, you know, generate an, MS Pen or to have a Microsoft Word document. Those are the things we are not going to use the supercomputer, okay? When we say supercomputer, we generally use it for weather forecasting, okay? This is one, and it's very important, weather forecasting, nah? Weather forecasting. We also use it for nuclear research. We use it for military and other scientific purposes, okay? So these are the different ways in which a supercomputer is used, okay? Now, when we say weather forecasting, like for example, we know that in India, we know that in India, the weather forecasting is done by the IMD, right? Indian Meteorological Department. So what it does is it studies all the patterns, all the data that is available at the current situation, and then, you know, see what type of weather we'll have in the next few days, right? But all these things are done with the help of supercomputers, okay? Because whatever data is captured by different devices, it will be fed into a supercomputer, and the supercomputer will try to analyze those data, and that will try to figure out what type of weather we'll have for the next few days, okay? So in India, we also have a number of supercomputers, okay? So this is kind of important, okay? Supercomputers in India. So the fastest supercomputer in India, as of now, or what is considered as the fastest supercomputer in India, though, it is what is known as the iRobot, okay? So the full form of iRobot is AI Research Analytics and Knowledge Dissemination Platform, okay? So this is considered to be the fastest supercomputer in India as of now, okay? AI Research Analytics and Knowledge Dissemination Platform. So this is considered to be the fastest supercomputer in India, and this was developed by the CTEC, okay? CTEC. This CTEC, the full form is Center for Development of Advanced Computing, okay? So in exam time, they may ask a simple thing like, what is iRobot, right? So your answer should be it is a supercomputer, right? So I'm teaching you not in a very, like, I'm teaching you in such a way that you will be able to answer your MCQs in exam, okay? Because that is what is needed here, right? So can you remember that when it comes to in India, the fastest supercomputer that is available at present is the iRobot, okay? It stands for AI Research Analytics and Knowledge Dissemination Platform. And it was developed by CTEC, okay? Center for Development of Advanced Computing, right? Now, apart from this, we have things like Param. We have Cray. Arunika. These are different types of supercomputers from we have, okay? Apart from this, we have also something called the Pratyush, okay? So again, this is important from the perspective of weather studies, okay? So what the Pratyush supercomputer does is it tries to study the weather pattern, okay? So that we can make better weather forecast, right? Better weather forecast means what? Disaster management only, right? In India. So better weather forecast means disaster management. So it is, in a way, this used for disaster management, right? And this was developed by Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, okay? So this is another supercomputer. So try to remember the names of some of the supercomputer names, right? iRobot is very important. Then Pratyush is important, Param is important, right? So these are the different types of supercomputers that are important. You don't need to go very detailed, okay? Where it is located, where apart from just remember that iRobot is located, developed by CTEC, okay? And Pratyush is used for weather studies, right? So these are the different types of supercomputers. And like I mentioned, supercomputers are completely different from quantum computers, okay? And just that when it comes to supercomputers, the way they function is like a normal computer. Quantum computer, they function the way they function is not like a normal computer, okay? But supercomputer, they will just function like a normal computer, just that their speed is measured in petaflops per second, right? And the main characteristics of a supercomputer is that they have very high processing speed, okay? So that is the most important feature of a supercomputer. Now, sometimes computer is also classified in a form of analog computer and digital computer, okay? And the one which uses both is considered to be an hybrid. Now, analog computers, what the analog computer will do is that they will generally carry out arithmetic. Arithmetic means plus minus, okay, and logical operations, okay. Logical operation means things like greater than 1, equal to. These are different types of arithmetics are plus, minus, divide, multiplication, okay. And logical operations like a greater to, lesser than, equal to. These are different types of logical operations, right? So when they say an analog computer, it is a very simple computer, okay? It's not like a very complicated, complex computer. It's a simple computer that performs arithmetic operations as well as logical operations, okay? And some of the examples are speedometers. Now, if you look at a vehicle, you know, there's an indicator of how speed you are going, right? That is a speedometer, right? And that speedometer is a simple analog computer, okay? And apart from speedometer, another device which is based on analog computer is the seismograph, okay? So seismograph, what it does is that it measures the earthquake, right? The intensity it measures the magnitude of the earthquake. So that is a seismograph. So when we say speedometer and when we say seismograph, it means that these are analog computers, okay? So they perform simple things like arithmetic operations and they perform logical operations, okay? Yes, these things are also performed by digital computer, okay? But their functioning is different, right? Now, when we say digital computer, always remember, they're also going to perform those arithmetic and logical operation, okay? But what they do is they are basing everything on binary digits, okay? Here, what we see is in the analog, it will use certain mechanical or electrical energy, okay? So analog computers are based on mechanical or electrical energy, okay? But digital digital computer will be based upon binary units. So when we say binary unit, it means zeros and ones, right? Everything is converted into 0 and 1, okay? Now, you enter something into the computer, right? You enter something into the computer with the help of their input devices, right? Input devices. Now, a computer doesn't understand 1, 2, 3. It doesn't understand. A digital computer does not understand 1, 2, 3. It does not understand ABCD, okay? What it does is it will convert all those things into zeros and 1, okay? Now, zeros and 1 is a thing that is understood by a digital computer, right? Now, whatever operation it has to perform, it will operation based on zeros and 1, right? After that, again, the zeros and 1 will be converted into the something which the user can understand, right? In the form of output. So this is how a digital computer function, okay? So analog will be based upon certain mechanical and electrical energy, okay? But digital will be based upon our binary digits, which is 0 and 1, okay? And when a computer uses a combination of digital and analog, that is an hybrid computer, okay? So we do not have much access to an analog computer, right? Our accessibility generally to our digital computer because what we need and what the computer serve is generally based upon the digital units, right? That is the binary digits. That is why our daily needs are served by our digital computers, okay? Now, sometimes computers are also divided into the general purpose computer and special purpose computer, okay? Now, Ajay, I forgot to mention one thing. Hybrid computers example where it is used, though it is used in dialysis, okay? Dialysis and ECG, right? So dialysis is used for filtering the kidney, right? So when kidney is not functioning well, in order to purify the blood, we use the dialysis method, right? And those dialysis machines are based upon combination of both analog and digital signal, okay? Similarly, ECG or electrocardiogram, when we are taking the checking the health of the heart, the device is also based upon the combination of analog and digital computer, okay? Now let's come to general purpose and special purpose. Now, when we say general purpose computer, it simply means it can perform different functions, okay? So any types of PC, your laptops, these are all general purpose computer. Why? Because we can perform different types of tasks at the same time, right? We can use it to operate our MS Office, and we can also use it for designing you can use different types of softwares, right? We can also use play different types of games. So it serves a different types of purpose, right? So it is regarded as the general purpose computer, okay? Now, when we say special purpose computer, they are used for specific purpose only, okay? So these are type of computer which we are not having access to in our daily life, right? Because these are used for very specific things. For example, automatic aircraft landing. So in automatic aircraft landing, what the computer you use is special computer, right? Special purpose computer. So that computer is specifically made just for the automatic landing of the aircraft, right? So that is why it is regarded as the special purpose computer, okay? So this is just a difference between the general purpose computer and the special purpose computer, okay? So these are the different types of computer, okay? Here the more important ones are the ones which we have studied in the earlier ones, right? Your supercomputers, the mainframe, the mini computers, these are the ones which you have to keep in mind properly, okay? Like I mentioned, the quantum computer, I'll be discussing it in another chapter, okay? Quantum computer. And even artificial intelligence, we'll be discussing later in some other class. Now, let's just talk about applications of computer, okay? Now, we all know computer comes with a variety of purpose, right? It serves a number of purposes. And that is why it is used for different fields, right? The first and foremost is we see commonly is banking, right? Now, banking in today's world, it's not like the banking in the ancient time, right? In ancient time, everything was very manual, but today, everything has been digitalized, right? Banking. So in order to transfer money, in order to, make a deposit, or in order to do this and that, lots of banking facilities are available directly, can be done directly via computer. Okay, so with the arrival of computer, problems of banking has been a number of banking problem has actually been solved. Okay, so banking computer comes a very powerful tool in banking sector, right? Second is education. So this is also known as the daily education, right? Now, with the arrival of the computer system, the need for classroom, the teaching has also been reduced, right? Right now, also we are taking digital classes, right? And with the help of these computers, we're having access to information. We're educating ourselves. We can easily get degrees, right? Through a online or distant learning, right? So all these things are possible with the help of the computer system, right? Then we have entertainment through various types with the help of computers, we can access different types of application, your social medias, your YouTube, your streaming sites, right? So this is also widen the scope of the use of computers. Used to be very manual, right? We have to your office documents has to be stored manually in the file, right? Physical file. But what we can do today is that all the data, so all the certificates, so all those documentation can be done or served digitally, right? Moreover, instead of just visiting the offices, you can access different services through computer, right? Over the internet. So this is another function that the computer is helping us solve, right? Next is advertisement. The advertisement is now computers are being used for advertisement, right? This is primarily dealing with internet, right? But in order to access the internet, we have to have a computer system, right? And without having to need for a physical advertisement. So what happened before the age of computer, advertisement has to be done on the side of the road, right? Through different types of large cardboards that they raised or the banners that they raised. That's how advertisement was done. But now everything is done digitally with the help of, with the arrival of the computer system, right? And lastly, in the field of business, now everything is digitalized. Accounting, different types of websites are available, which you can use for accounting for your business. In order to track your inventories, all these things can be digitalized and serve the needs of the business community, right? So these are the different ways in which the applications of computers come into play, okay? So we'll wind up today's class here, okay? Is there anything that you want to ask? Try to improve my net connectivity, okay? Very sorry that today's class was interrupted also. If you have any problem, kindly let me know also. You can directly